Welcome everybody, thank you for joining a new session of the iCare Expert Talk. Today we will talk about predictive maintenance on static equipment called leak detection of valves. That's maybe not as known as vibration measurement on rotating equipment, but it still has a big potential. If you are familiar with overhaul and repair of valves, you know that they come in big amounts during a shutdown. The documentation of valves is not that good, and the team is under pressure to get the work done, especially the big repairs at the end, to get them back in time. And you need a big staff, so the cost for overhaul and repair of valves is pretty high. Those three things, cost, safety and duration, were key drivers for one of our customers in the wastewater treatment business to contact us. They asked us, or they talked to us and they said, okay, we want to go from preventive maintenance to predictive maintenance. What we see is that the scopes are very big. The crew which we have to hire is very difficult to get. The quality at the end is not always sufficient, and during our last shutdown we had severe unsafe situations, and that's absolutely not acceptable. iCare can help us to develop a technique to go from preventive to predictive maintenance for on-off valves. And of course we said yes. We started to investigate possible techniques to see the health of a valve, and that looks easy, but it wasn't, because you have metal, and with metal you can't look inside, so you don't see the leakage of the seats of the valve. Another method we looked into was borescopy, a technique which we use for years on gearboxes. One advantage there is that you always have a hole where you can go inside the gearbox to check the gears. With a valve you don't have that, so you have to drill holes either in the body or in the piping up or downstream, and that gives difficulties on other areas, so that's not what you want to do. In the end we found a technique based on acoustic emission, a system which could measure that, and we did a study to see if this was the solution. When we were convinced that it was the solution, we got back to the client in the wastewater treatment business and said to him, okay, we can do it. He gave us 25 valves in first to measure, and in 2.5 days we were able to measure the 25 valves, because the technique doesn't cost that much time. You go to the valves with a system which is pre-programmed. You can do that in the office. You put all the process data and the data of the valve in the system, and you go to the valves and measure them. And for every valve you have to measure 5 to 10 positions, 2 upstream piping, 2 downstream piping, and 1 to 5 on the body, depending on the size of your valve. If it gets bigger, you need to have 5 measuring points on your body to cover all the seat surface to detect the leakage. You cannot only detect the leakage, you can quantify it as well, and that's very nice at this technique. You can see your the quality of your valve going back in time, during time. If the leakage increases, there's a sign that there is more wear and tear, and you have to do an overhaul. From the 25 valves we measured, only 5 were heavily leaking and need to be repaired. So during the shutdown of this customer, this client, he only had to overall repair 5 of 25 valves. So in the period of 2 weeks, that was an easy job and they finished early. No unsafe situations at the client or with the crew at that point. So both the management and the crew were very happy that they for the first time finished the project in time. What were the benefits for the customer in this case? As said, only 20% of the scope has to be overhauled and repaired. It saved time, it saved cost, and more important, there were no unsafe situations. If you want to know more about this nice predictive maintenance technique for valves, please contact your local customer care manager or one of my colleagues of business development. Drop us an email on this email address and we'll come back to you. Thank you very much and hope to speak to you soon.